and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We are here to talk about This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead. And it's a story of grief and obsession with true crime. Jane Sharp is at a college party when she receives a call that her father is being rushed to the hospital after a heart attack. She rushes home only to learn that he did not recover. After this tragedy, Jane loses interest in her own life. She cannot imagine doing anything. Her mother has a very different response. She gets active. She's cleaning out the refrigerator and the cupboards, throwing away all the unhealthy food that she believes killed her husband. She tells Jane that from now on they are getting regular exercise and they are only eating healthy. Jane isolates herself in her room. She drops out of college and she moves back with her mom to help her mom deal with her grief, but she stares at the television in her room all day and secretly munches on Cheetos. And here she sees a local news story about a body found in a lake 40 miles from there. The police ask community members who have information to come forward. They really need help with the case, and Jane suddenly feels a sense of purpose. The body is identified, and she searches the internet for more information. Jane visits a true crime forum, clicks on a case thread, and becomes obsessed. So obsessed, in fact, that she goes to a convenience store near the victim's home to see if their security camera caught anything that might help. And afterwards, she's asked to join a select group of forum members in their private forum. And she does. The forum's interest turns to shocking events at an Idaho college. 3 sorority members are found dead, and nothing quite adds up. For Jane, working to solve these cases seems like a way that she can reconnect with her father and keep his memory alive, creating a legacy for him. It's especially important because she's never quite felt this disconnected from him before. But as the investigation continues, she is thrust publicly into the center of the case, and it begins to feel like a trap. This book is written as if Jane herself wrote a memoir about these events a year after they took place. The writing style drew me into the story, and I didn't want to put it down. As the author says in the author notes at the beginning of the book, the story draws in part from real life cases. So if you're sensitive to any of these cases or any of the events that happen in these cases, be cautious in reading it. The main character in the story, and in fact the author when she was writing the story, are dealing with the loss of a parent. And I had difficulty with this part of the book as well, to the point where I wondered if I should even continue. But I did, and I was glad that I did. So make sure you read the note from the author to see if you're going to be sensitive to any of the situations in the book. And if you are and you decide to read, take breaks when you need to and be gentle with yourself. So what can you read for a similar experience? And we're going to do 2 different things here. We're going to focus on books that feature a podcast and crime, but we are going to talk about adult fiction and young adult fiction. So we're going to start off with books for our young adult readers, and we'll start with Sadie by Courtney Summer. Sadie's sister, Maddie, was murdered, and Sadie leaves home following clues that she hopes will lead to the man responsible. Wes McCrae, a radio personality, receives a desperate phone call asking him to find Sadie. And he's not sure it's worth his time until his boss hears about the case. West is sent in search of Sadie, and as he traces her to dangerous corners of large and small cities, a deeply unsettling mystery begins to unfold. The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. And this one is a little different in that they're not creating a podcast, but instead a documentary series about the victim. So Belle has lived the last 16 years under the shadow of her mother's disappearance. She was the only witness, but she has no recollection of the events. The family needs money to care for Belle's aging grandfather, so they agree to participate in the filming of a true crime documentary about her disappearance. But during the filming, the unthinkable happens. Rachel returns, and her story is unbelievable. And nobody reacts in the way Belle thought they would. Is Rachel lying? Is she dangerous? Belle must discover the truth and find out how Rachel came back from the dead. And another good series by this author, which is currently checked out, is The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I know that you've heard me talk about it, but it does involve a podcast also, so it is a perfect read for this category. Now on to the adult fiction books. And we're going to start with None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. As podcaster Alex Sumner is celebrating her birthday at a local pub, she meets Josie Fair, who is also celebrating her own birthday. A few days later, they run into one another, and Josie suggests that Alex do a podcast about her. Josie's life story is strange, so strange that after they start, Alex can't resist continuing on with the project. She begins to realize that Josie is hiding very dark secrets. Then suddenly, Josie is gone, leaving a terrifying legacy behind and causing Alex to become the subject of her own true crime podcast. And All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. 20 years ago, Margot's neighbor January Jacobs' family awoke to find January missing from their home. She was later found in a roadside ditch, and ever since Margot has been haunted by the thoughts that it could have been her. When she returns home to care for her uncle, a child, Natalie, from the next town disappears under very similar circumstances to January's disappearance. Now Margot is determined. She is going to find Natalie, and she is going to solve January's murder. But everyone, the police, her family, the entire community, appears to be hiding something. The more she searches, the more resistance she faces. Could the killer still be there? Is it the same person who took Natalie? And what will it cost Margot to find out? This book is twisty, chilling, and intense. And there we are. That was our final April book review. I hope that you enjoyed exploring mysteries and thrillers that involve a podcast. And we started with This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead. I will be back very soon with our final April poet and Explore and Create, and later in the week, May Reads. I hope that you will join me then, and until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. And thank you.